What's up, guys?
What up?
We're here at Copper State, and we got some stuff to show y'all.
Some baits. We got a couple baits out.
So bringing y'all the best, our favorites, our best baits for the month of September. What do you think there, Tate?
Yeah, we got some good options. I mean, not everything, of course. There's too much, but
definitely some things to think about.
Some good choices. Yeah. For sure, our top first go-to choices in the month of September. But yeah, we'll kind of just kick it off.
Well, first of all, I got a question for the viewers. All right, y'all, I want y'all to comment down below. Okay, what is your #1 bait in the month of September that you like doing at our local lakes or anywhere around the country? I want to hear from you guys. So let's kick it off, Tate. What you got?
Let's start off with top. Let's start off from the top with some top water.
All right.
So, you know, September, fish are moving up. It's that kind of transition month. But I mean, especially if I'm out there, you know, first light or fishing in the dark, you got to throw a top water. My favorite, without a doubt, is the frog, hollow belly frog. You know, usually I'm starting with the VEGA. It's a little bigger profile. You know, sometimes they're finicky out there, or they're feeding on that smaller bait fish, you know, with the shad spawn and stuff going on. So if that's the case, you know, they're not eating this one good, I'm not getting a lot of strikes, you know, you got to make sure to downsize.
Or if you know, get a bunch of short strikes.
Exactly, you know, some days they're not eating it as good, not choking it.
Yeah.
You know, trim that skirt up on that BLITZ and just get a nice, really compact profile. And
that's a sweet frog. I haven't seen that one yet.
Yeah, so this is newer for us. This is BLITZ. You know, they got a couple different frogs. This is their Poppin' Junior, but I'll show you guys.
That's a sweet looking frog.
This is a sexy
color, it's dude. Super slender, which I really like.
And like you see that belly right there, that keel, walks super easy. I was actually out with Joey, and he can't walk a frog. No offense, no offense.
Shout out Joey.
He can walk this one though. He's freaking walking this one good. But yeah, super soft, and I mean just that.
Oh, that is soft.
That compact profile to it, but that's my favorite, especially for, you know, target casting. I'm fishing stuff on the bank, trees, grass.
Steal that from me.
But yeah, so
any kind of structure, right? Any visible.
Structure. Exactly.
Gotcha.
You know, it's not the best for covering water, but any structure, target casting, frogs, my top bait for September for sure.
I'm gonna have to give me some of those BLITZ.
Dude, they're nice, dude.
My favorite, speaking of covering water, probably one of my favorite things to start out with, cover water, find fish, locate fish, definitely a Persuader double buzz. And I like the double buzz, especially late in the summer, just because it's got a lot more action. You know, a single blade kicks a little bit less water. This kicks a lot of water. It's really aggressive. So if I'm hunting for aggressive feeding fish, I'm definitely picking up double buzz, and I'm gonna go find them. I'm gonna cover a lot of bank. I'm gonna whip it out. What I like to do is take that skirt off, zoom horny toad, skirtless.
Okay.
It also weights it down a bit too. You know, when you throw that horny toad on there, it's skirt on there. This is a 3/8 ounce. But when you put that horny toad on there, I mean, I can cast this thing a country mile with the weight of it, and also gives them something to hold on to, which I like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
A little more bulk to it.
Yeah.
I know too with those Persuaders with that flat head, and when you put that toad on there, you got that whole flat surface on the bottom. So
and it keeps it, you know, you can even slow creep it, or you can burn it, and it's staying on top. It's not sinking down like some other, you know, a lot of solo buzz baits kind of get a little finicky. If you slow it down or something, this won't at all. So absolutely love doing that. Cover water, guys. Can't beat a buzz bait and a frog in September. It's good stuff.
No, you can't. Yeah, so if you're burning bank, more open water scenario, go that buzzer. If you got more grass, brush, target specific selections, definitely the frog.
Or if you're missing a bunch of fish too, you know?
Yeah, and you
slow it down.
Definitely a good little 1-2 for top water. On that, you going black or white most of the time? What's the color?
I think a lot of it depends on the lake, right? You guys got to know your forage in your lake and what those fish are on, right? If you're seeing, like we were at Apache last week, and we saw a bunch of shad flickering on the bank, you know, but we also are getting bit by a lot of bluegill on the bank. I think you go with either one. But if you're at Bartlett, for instance, and there's hardly any bluegill on the bank, but you're seeing a lot of shad on the bank, I'm going with white.
Going white.
And Roosevelt, I think you can't go wrong with either as well. A lot of those lakes, it kind of pick your poison. I tend to lean towards white just because we're going into the fall, and it seems like fish are getting more on bait than on the bluegill. A little more
shad based.
Yeah, it's a little bit more shad based. So I lean towards the white. Doesn't mean I don't throw black, but keep that in mind. All right, so moving on. What's your second one there, Tater?
I'm gonna go with the crank here. So I got a little deeper crank, you know, you're thinking fall. I got the Crush 300 right here.
How deep does that go?
So that's that, on 12-pound line, I like it for that 12 to that 15-foot range. You know, that's kind of the sweet spot for it. But yeah, so the Crush 300, especially like beginning of September right now, they're first starting to pull up. You know, there's some of those better fish are still a little deeper. I think that's the perfect depth range for them. You know, any shad patterns, 4K shad, your wild shad. You know, and if they are being a little finicky, you know, they're getting beat up on, that pressure series is also a good one. If you guys haven't seen this, it is pretty much a deeper diving crankbait with flat sides. So you get the tighter wobble.
And I heard something too.
And you get
Shake that sucker.
That one, it's got that one hard knock to it. So those are super legit, kind of slept on, but you know, there's those community holes out there.
I don't know if we can show people that. I don't want people to see that.
We gotta let them know.
I guess we gotta let them know. That's a good one. That's a sleeper, guys. PD series, pressure series.
Yeah, I tend to stay beginning of the month a little deeper cranks.
Okay.
And I'm, you know, targeting all your main lake points leading into those pockets they're moving into, you know, some of those flats just staying out a little deeper, all that kind of stuff.
So I like doing that same thing. Two of my favorites though, that I tend to lean towards, definitely a squarebill. I'm starting to hunt in September for that first group of fish that's feeding hard shallow. So I can't stress enough, you know, a 1.5 size, this is a Crush 50X, but that 1.5 size squarebill, you know, not overly big, not that 2.5, we're not getting crazy. But this is a really good, guys, just, you can cover water with this. It's gonna be a fish catcher. And a lot of times this finds me those wads of fish that are, you know, the first group that's kind of in that fall pattern or starting to get in that fall pattern. You can get into little wolf packs of them. That's what I'm hunting with that. And if I'm not getting them on that, you know, and they're not, you know, it depends on obviously what lake you're on, right? Because each lake's gonna play a little bit differently. We got different elevations, all that jazz. So if I'm not finding them, you know, any, you know, groups up shallow with that, I'm gonna go with something in that mid-range. And I think that mid-range, something completely slept on in that transition period from that late summer
It
to
seems
early
like
fall.
people go from fishing
500 DDs and 25 feet.
Directly to throwing that square bill.
Exactly.
And kind of miss that whole middle ground, it seems like.
And there's a big window, guys, big window for those mid-range depth fish that are kind of wanting to get in that fall pattern, but still kind of in that summer pattern. And that C10 cloud, any 10-foot, 12-foot diving crankbait. I mean, even the 300, you can throw it on some bigger pound test line, get a little bit shallower. You do that too with that. Man, you guys can't beat that. You're gonna find some fish that people aren't fishing for, which tends to be a better fishing day.
Exactly.
So, moving on. What do you got next there, Tater? We got some Texas rig stuff I see.
Yeah. So Texas
Yours
rig.
is a little bit different than my Texas rig.
Yeah, I got a little more.
Here?
So again, a little more cover base, just like the frog. I'm going.
You like some trees.
I do like the trees.
I
like scratching the boat up, man. But so yeah, my Texas rig, I'm going with the pegged weight. So flipping, pitching, you know, as you
Why
guys
are you pegging
know.
it though?
So pegging it because the cover. So you know, I'm going for mostly out here trees. I know you guys got grass and stuff out here. For us, it's trees though. So you want to peg that weight, you know, directly to the top of that hook right there. When you're flipping, because you want it all to be direct in one when you're coming through that cover. You know, you don't want the weight falling on one side and your worm falling on here. You want it all staying together, and it's going to come through that cover a lot better. Yeah, so I'm going through, you know, tree shorelines, and I have two main flipping baits.
Very different.
They both got good kicking action, a lot of action, but sometimes I notice they like the little shorter, bulkier profile, which is pretty well. But I don't know, for some reason in September, I don't know about you, that brush hog, HOGWALLA profile, just a little more slender, seems to get bit a little better for me. So going like that, I like to go light. That's kind of my thing, 5/16. I like to go just lighter than normal when I'm flipping. I just think that slower rate of fall gets a little more bites. You know, you got a dude in front of you swinging through there with a 1/2 ounce. He might kind of burn past him too fast, but 5/16, peg that. And again, just kind of going out, and you just got to test it out, guys. You know, just start off with your favorite style, whether it's a D-bomb, Congo, and
The creature bait style.
Yeah, if you're not getting bit on that, change it up. Go a little slimmer profile. You kind of just got to play around with it and see what they're wanting better that day.
So I got something kind of completely different on the opposite end of the spectrum, and that is I'm tossing around the BOOSA worm a lot in September. So I'm kind of targeting those fish that are still stuck in that summer pattern with this, and I'm targeting them with a 1/2 ounce tungsten and a 5/0 jugular hook. Can't go wrong with those. But I find this worm to be special in that late summer, early fall bite because one, a lot of people aren't thinking about the big worm still.
No,
they think summer's over, we're going to the bank, we're going, we're trying to hunt some shallow fish, or if they're out deep, they're dragging around, finesse stuff, right? I'm still going with that big worm, but I'm going with more of a finesse style big worm, that BOOSA 9.6 ribbon tail. It still gets bit and still gets a lot of big bites. Now, I don't know if I can throw it all day and catch a good big limit off of it, but it's gonna get some key bites for me. Typically in a derb, out fun fishing, it still catches a lot of fish and good quality fish. So I'm kind of, like I said, I'm kind of targeting those fish that are still stuck in that summer pattern off ledges, points, or even some inside ledges onto major coves, places that they're gonna go inside for that fall bite.
Finding those transition spots.
Exactly. So that's definitely something I think is slept on a little bit, is the big worm in September. Nobody really thinks about.
I mean, honestly, for me, like my big worm bag is getting ready to get out of the boat and wrap up for the winter, but I'm gonna have to try that out.
Got to try it out.
Gotcha.
Well, we got something special. We just finally experimented and had some great success with it.
We did. I got on
this is exciting.
I got on my first one.
Because Tate here got his first HOVRSTROLL bass, man, and it was actually some of my first good ones doing it and actually being consistent with it.
Right.
It's happened here or there. But let's talk a little bit of HOVRSTROLLing and that fall stuff. And something I want you guys to keep in mind, viewers out there, keep in mind when you're HOVRSTROLLing, we're talking minnow style bait on a jig head, and you're HOVRSTROLLing on a forward-facing sonar. When you're focusing on trying to find those fish, focus on one of two things, and this will really help. This came from Mr. Creston Carroll. All right, the Tonto hammer. And it's paid off really well. So Creston, thanks for that tip. Here's that tip, guys. Focus on either those fish being bait oriented or structure oriented. All right, okay. So when you're HOVRSTROLLing, if you're finding bait in the top of the water column, graphing out, or like you got a different lake like Bartlett compared to Apache or Roosevelt, right? There's a lot of structure in Apache and Roosevelt. There's not a ton of structure in Bartlett, right? So typically those fish are gonna be more bait oriented at Bartlett. You're gonna follow the bait around and scope around.
Right.
Roosevelt and Apache, you're gonna be more structure oriented. You're gonna be HOVRSTROLLing over trees or habitats or rock piles.
Gotcha.
So kind of keep that in mind, guys, when you're HOVRSTROLLing. And I'll give you a 1-2 punch for HOVRSTROLLing, a big and a small option technically, all right? And this is what we had success out there with, is the range roller. We are getting some more in, but the 3/16 ounce with the 3/0 hook, and we were throwing that with the 5-inch new, the wing fluke. Okay, guys, they did a great job with this bait, but that wing fluke, it is pretty sweet, just like the SAKAMATA shad, except a lot more colors, a lot more availability on those. Caught some good ones out there. That's what you caught your first one on, right?
I was Saka.
He was straight Saka. He fooled me.
But the wing fluke is a great addition. If you can't get your hands on
I caught my 2 big ones on the wing fluke.
Yeah, no, we were smoking them on, even the 4-inch version.
Yep.
He was catching them on that 5-inch.
And then on the opposite end of the spectrum, right, you got your small minnow style baits, right? Something like the hover juggle, juggle minnow, or the scope shad from Yamamoto, and those, I'm really digging these new Buckeye G-STROLLs. So the difference with those is it's a 3/16 ounce head, but look at the hook size on that sucker.
That lot smaller.
I mean, it is stout, but it's also smaller, so it fits those smaller minnow baits a lot better. That's what I was throwing at Bartlett, and I really like that sucker. Yeah, HOVRSTROLLing. Keep that stuff in mind, guys. And what do we got next there, Tater?
So lastly here, we're talking about the old weightless fishing.
Oh, you can't go wrong with a weightless fluke.
I mean,
can't go wrong.
That's old classic Zoom fluke right there, and the smoke shad. Another great technique for covering water. just seems on those slower days, sometimes that weightless presentation can put fish in the boat for you. I like throwing mine just on I go EWG.
Okay.
You know, I know some dudes like more like the juggler kind of style, Ryan Bend style. Whatever hook you like on there, and same thing, looking for schooling fish, you know, chasing shad. I like throwing it around cover too. You know,
over
flipping
trees,
grass, twitch, and just let it kill. And I mean, a lot of times they'll smoke it on the fall with that.
That's a fun bite.
It is.
It's a really fun bite.
Especially, you know, if you got a little calmer day and you can just watch the slack in your line and just see that kind of jump.
Well, speaking of weightless, so my weightless option, and again, something a lot of people really think springtime with, I think, but I kind of have it in my boat year round, is the old SENKO from Yamamoto. Can't go wrong with this. The CLOUTs from 6 cents, the SENKOs. There's all kinds of stick style baits, guys. Any of them will work well. I think it's more the fact of when you're throwing it and how you're throwing it. A lot of times I will actually work this like a fluke, real fast twitches and let it fall, because that fall is a lot different than that fluke style. So I'll change it up, and I actually had an experience at Lake Fork on that where we smoked him doing that, and the SENKO was getting bit way more than the fluke. I think it had something to do with the fall, so I've kind of put it in my arsenal for that late summer bite.
That's funny though. Yeah.
So something to think about, guys. You know, different presentation style. Keep that SENKO in mind. Texas rig style or wacky style, even Nico style. Check that out. Keep that in mind. Actually, one of my clients caught a 5-pounder at Saguaro doing it. Okay. Not too long ago. Yeah. If you guys are looking for guide trips, hit me up. But it was that was pretty cool.
Jerking the old
SENKO around late summer. Yeah. Well, I think that's about wraps it up there, Tater.
Yeah. I think that's the top September baits. But I'm wondering if y'all got any weird little sleeper techniques that you'd be throwing in September that no one's really thinking of? Like, you throwing that mag spoon still? You going to Huddleston? Anything weird?
A Huddleston. I like that.
I'm curious.
I want to know.
I'm curious. So just let us know. Comment below. We'll link all these products for you guys.
Down in that description.
We'll add our favorite combos too, what we like to throw this stuff on in there for you. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys.
Thanks, y'all.
Peace.